Hey, oi. Yeah. Don't worry, Lorne just squeaked in under the wire, but we was running our late ourselves, mate. Me and Paul ended up chatting about plans going to Dallas and college football and all the rest of it. So running late. But yes, it is Thursday and it's 9. So it's UK Cowboys time. Welcome everybody. And how are you, Paul and Lorne?
Good, man. Good. I'm just as you were just kind of mentioning there, I am absolutely over the moon that I am getting to fly out in like 10 days time. So finally, I get to see a lot of long lost friends, like Shannon, people at the Star, and get to meet Meg, good friends of the show. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am missing some of the folks over there. But sorry, Lorne, what was you going to say? I did ask how you were doing.
No. Just best laid plans of mice and men and everything. I'd set the PC up at 8 o'clock and then literally came to get into the studio and my mic wasn't working and I had to reboot the computer and there was updates and everything. That just anything that could go wrong.
Yeah, and it's always the same. It does that thing where it's like it does an update and it goes update and gets to 100%, goes rebooting, it reboots, and it takes ages, and you log in and you're like, and nothing's changed.
And saying that, Lauren, at least you're not the only one that had a couple of issues with computers. Our friends at Hanging with the Boys had a bit of a hiccup yesterday, and that due to downloading too much content from NFL films, which crashed the live stream. So but they've got it fixed, thank God. They went live today. They had a good show today. So, but it just shows like trying. Like
best laid plans.
It just shows you, even from the professionals, like anything can happen.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there myself many a time where it's like, here we go, and then all of a sudden everything crashes. The second you press the or you got to say the first words as you go live. There we go. What can you do? But yes, we are here to talk about the pregame. It's the pregame show for this weekend's game, which is against Minnesota Vikings. Here in the UK, kicks off at 25 past midnight. Yay! But that is, but that does mean that we are the Halloween game again at night. Remember the last time that happened was the Giants and the Black Cat run on a field. And, help swing the tide.
How many years ago was that now? 4 or 5 years ago?
Nah, it's less than that. No, it was
only 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Trying to think. Somewhere around there anyway. But yes, we start the show as we do every week with the news and updates. So we will get into that and crack on. Ooh, yes. Okay, guys. So just so you know, I've gone through to go and check some of the stats. As you know, I like to do that. Cowboys at the moment, their playoff chances, they rank 5th in the NFL with a 94% chance. In terms of winning their division, they have the highest percentage with 92%. So that is something to take away there, guys. In other news, some interesting moves have been going on. Gallup has been in training. Lyell has been in training. Dak has been in training, not team drills, just doing individual drills, but everybody is extremely confident. They've said, no problems. We got no qualms here. He is playing Sunday. Get to that in a bit later. There has been some other moves. Maurice Kennedy, who was in concussion protocol, moved to IR, along with Brett Irvin, who has a tricep injury. I know you said it before, Lon. You think that's a bit of a stash move, yeah?
Certainly the Kennedy. I mean, this is almost like Rico Gathers style concussion from that year. We tried to stash him and put him on IR for the whole season. It's no surprise that you've got Kelvin Joseph coming back.
Yeah.
We've obviously got Gallup that you're potentially bringing up as well. Now we've got slightly longer to decide on Tristan Hill. We've got 3 weeks plus another 2 weeks after that as well because of the pup rule. So he can he can potentially be coming back round about the same time that Gallimore gets activated as well. And make a decision there. Obviously, he could still stay on pup as well, but it gives him the equivalent of a full training camp to get up to speed to come back on the main roster.
Yeah, and obviously in other moves as well, Donovan Wilson with the groin injury, he's fine. He's been in training. Tyron Smith, ankle, sounds like more that's a preservation thing. He hasn't been seen in training. I think they're just, what do they call them? The old vet days and what have you, to try and keep him healthy, because at the moment Tyron Smith is on fire. Diggs with the ankle doesn't seem that bad. I did send a few questions, got some answers, nothing to worry about apparently. And there was one other thing. Oh, Terrence Steele has been told he's keeping the right tackle job. What do you guys feel about that?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I know, like I kind of just brought the comment up by Brando there. Shout out Brando, thanks for the comment. I mean, Steele's not really put a foot wrong since he's been filling in.
He's earned the right to keep it.
He's earned the right to keep it, and the way how Lyle is right now is like is match fit. Like obviously we know he's a stud, but it's the match fitness, all that type of stuff, whatever that. But I think the main discussion point is like, do we actually move Collins into guard and replace him with Williams? That's the biggest talking point, I think.
It's one of the options you can do, but I think, because this is something we spoke about, not in the last off season, we spoke about it before in one of the off seasons on this show, where we said, if anything, in terms of cohesiveness of a unit, really the O-line is where you want to be. That you want those five guys to be the closest, close-knit five guys on your team, and you don't really want to mess with it. So if you've got something that's working, especially when it comes to the O-line, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly.
And and with Terrence Steele, you've got a large enough sample size now, and you've got a cohesiveness going on. Don't mess with it.
Yeah, I mean, and he's came leaps and bounds from last season to now. He's like a completely transformed player, and you can't not help but give Terrence Steele the praise he deserves right now. And he has completely deserves to earn his right to be the starting right tackle right now. But whereas if you're kind of like, I know I'm kind of going back to Connor Williams, but whereas Connor, like especially in the last game there against New England, cost us massive penalties that could easily jeopardize us from getting the victory. Luckily, we got the win, but we should have never been in that position throughout that game because of some of the mistakes that Connor was doing. So, I don't know.
We seemed to shoot ourselves in the foot a couple of times in that Patriots game, and it was just lucky that we were able to convert or at least get back into field goal range for the game-winning field goal or game-tying field goal to take us to overtime. And I think we've all had problems necessarily with Williams or Biadish. It always seems to be people coming up between the gap between those two guys. Martin's obviously got one side laid down pat. Steele's doing a tremendous job. They've been scheming the tight ends to the other side so that you're basically putting a man over him and he's not having to take a wide drop back to pass protect. But I mean, he deserves to continue. You can't really say, right, go back and start your job again. The one thing, and Jamie and I commented on this last week, is that a couple of years ago when Lyle was playing guard, the comment was, he's probably better as a tackle. So, we're probably replacing Williams, who, again, I've been saying for a couple of years now
as
that he should be a tackle. He's not built to be a guard. And we're replacing him back with Lyle Collins, who, well, potentially at the moment, nothing's firmed up, but potentially you're talking about Lyle Collins playing guard. And while he was able to do a good job when he was pulling, straight.
especially as a pulling guard, especially I think it was the game against the Saints, was it not?
Yeah.
You see him running right upfield, giving Zeke the running path, or I think it may have been Dunbar potentially at the time, but in that rookie season.
Yeah.
Who was number 20 before Pollard? I'm trying to remember now. It's been so long.
That was Run DMC.
Oh, McFadden. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
McFadden.
Yeah. So would have been McFadden then.
Fun and games. But yes, guys, that is the news and updates. So that means we can crack on with the offense side of the ball, and we'll look at how the Cowboys offense stacks up against this defense.
Yep.
Alrighty. Now, I don't know, guys, if you remember, because it's quite hard to remember. The last time that we played was the Vikings was when Lamb made that big horizontal, strange UFO catch.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know about you guys. Cowboys, in terms of catches. Go on, sorry, mate.
I was just saying the Cowboys just released a video of that catch, actually.
On
the social media.
Yeah, well, we put it on ours on the Twitter at some point today. And for me, in terms of catches by a Cowboys player, that's like right up there with one of the best. I don't know what you guys think.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, just the way he contorted his body, just to, a lot of guys would have said, "Nah, I can't get that." But I mean, he there was no way was he coming out without that ball there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But here's some stats for you, right, guys? Cowboys offense right now in 2021, they're averaging 39 points per game. Just to make you aware, there are 24 NFL teams yet to even score 39 points in a game.
Wow.
So that just to put it in perspective. But what I've done, check this little stat out, right? All of 2019, and this is just to prove how good Dak is for this offense, that all of 2019, all the way up to week 5 of 2020, the Cowboys were averaging 6.5 yards per play. That ranked first in the NFL.
Wow.
In that time, right?
Yeah.
From week 6 to week 17 in 2020, they averaged 4.7. That ranked 32nd in that time period. 2021, the Cowboys are averaging 6.6 yards per play. First in the NFL.
First, yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
So, if anything, they've got better.
Yeah. And that just goes to show how much Dak is a vital cog in this offense for us.
Yeah. Speaking about Dak, Valenti brought up the question, and I think we kind of briefly mentioned it. Is Dak 100% playing?
According so.
Yep, according to the guys in DallasCowboys.com who Mike's reached out to, they are very confident he's going to be playing. So I think they're just taking more precautions, making sure that he's nothing niggles up till between now and the game, pretty much.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, they're just taking it cautious with him. Last week, apparently, he spent like the week in the swimming pool, doing that sort of stuff. And today, individual, which I imagine would be like chords, warm-up, stretches, all the rest of it. Not really trying to push it. I would expect we'll see a bit more as the week goes on in terms of what he's doing in practice. But there is that. But here is something I think that plays into Dak's injury, if you want to call it, that yes, he's playing, but here's a crazy one, that the Minnesota defense is not bad, but against the run, they are really bad.
So this to me reminds me of what the Eagles were. It's like I feel as though that like we can really take a big massive hit to the Minnesota defense right down the middle rather than
yes.
This to me screams the same type of setup with the Eagles defense. But the only thing that the Minnesota have compared to the Eagles, I'd say they have a better secondary. I'd say.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I'm not that concerned about that part of it, because the Minnesota rush defense, and I've even looked individually at the players on the defensive line and the linebackers. So as a team, they are like right down the bottom. They average 4.6 yards per play on rush.
Ooh.
Yeah. And they allowed the most rushing yards on average on early downs, on first and second downs.
And that seems to be our
bread and butter.
Yeah. Especially this season, because it seems to be we've come out guns blazing in first and second downs.
Yeah, and here's a crazy one, right? Their run defensive players, gone through all the players at their run defensive grades. The highest run defensive grade, which is terrible, by the way, was 68. And that player was Everson Griffin.
Yep.
Oh,
we know how to attack him from
Yeah.
After his comments this week, wow. Okay.
What comments has he made?
Did you not see the tweet he posted up or the Instagram post saying?
No.
He's basically trying to throw a little bit of shade towards Dallas, pretty much.
What's new? But just to put it in perspective, right, of how that affects the Cowboys. On first downs, so first and second downs, the Cowboys average 108 yards per game. That's the most by any NFL team since 1994 Dallas Cowboys. And that's on first and second downs. Yeah.
Seriously, mate, I really do question how the hell do you find these statistics. I really do.
I have a lot of time on my hands.
With the baby and all that, I'm amazed. Folks, can we give a round of applause for Mike Keel? Really? Honestly. This is unreal, man. Unreal.
Hold on, cough. There we go.
Of course, it could be like Barney Stinson and How I Met Your Mother. 83% of this, and it's all it's all BS until somebody actually goes and proves.
Yeah, somebody digs and dives in. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, like the way I see it is, and what you've also got to bear in mind is before the bye, because obviously the Cowboys haven't played, so it's a bit unfair to use it. But that the Cowboys had, cheers, Andrew, had both Zeke and Tony Pollard in the top 10 running backs of most yards. So it's all playing into this straight down the middle, just attack it on the ground with the ball. And then if anything, if they do get into third down situations, Dak's going to be able to do it. They aren't perfect on third down, but they're not bad. They'll get the job done. So really, what I'm looking at is first and second down, just hammer them. Zeke down the middle, run the gut, get Dak to finish it on third down if we need it. Yeah. But here's another interesting fact that I thought we'd look at, because, this is all playing into Dak's injury questions, is Minnesota have the 9th worst defense in the red zone. They allow 71% of red zone attempts for a touchdown.
So, when you kind of mention that, for me, that kind of sounds like that's potential for like Jarwin and Schultz to kind of spark out.
12-man personnel. I put this down. 12-man personnel is going to be huge in this game. But not just that. If you're getting into the red zone, I think the biggest problem for Minnesota when I've looked at it is that when you look at that, the reason is because they can't stop the run. Players are getting into the red zone and just running the ball. And, the red zone, there's, your zone gets smaller and tighter, but they can't stop the run, so it doesn't matter. So players are just running into the end zone.
Yeah. And what you've got to consider in recent days as well, their top cornerback, Patrick Peterson's actually gone to IR as well.
Correct.
So that's another weapon for them that's gone. And, with the guys that we've got, potentially you got Gallup coming back, could be activated for this game. perchance. That's certainly that's going to give them issues as to who's covering who.
Yeah.
And it, again, as we've said all the time, I think, with this offense, it's a case of what's going to stop us is ourselves.
Yeah.
Most defenses don't, they're lucky if they've got one shutdown corner. If you've got one shutdown corner, the other two aren't as good. And, you've got issues there. So the fact that we've got potentially 3 number 1 wide receivers playing in this game, and then at the moment Cedric Wilson's playing out his skin. You've then got Schultz, you got Jarwin, you got Noah Brown, who showed up last week as well. So there's so much that we can do that it's just a case of it'll be us shooting ourselves in the foot, if anything.
Yeah, and like I was saying, the third down situation, bear in mind, right? I've just had to check. Third down, the Cowboys are 47% in their conversion rate. That's 5th in the NFL. So if they really need to go to the pass, and like you say, with Patrick gone, that means there's a favorable matchup for one of the wide receivers on the outside. And you let any of them go, it's going anyway. So I think for me, it's quite clear. I keep going back to the setup is third downs are for Dak, first and second on the run. And bear in mind as well, we can't take away from the fact that the play calling as well for Kellen Moore has been really great.
Yeah, I mean, he's on top form this year. I think just the relationship he has with Dak. I mean, he's obviously learned what went wrong last year and how difficult it was, and he's making sure that Dak's in a position that not only does he not have to run as much, so that he's not risking the injury. Another injury from rushing and trying to bulldoze somebody out of the way. And as a result, I mean, just the plays he's calling are, as we say, it's 1 week it can be, passing the ball down the field, or you run the ball with Zeke, and if Zeke's covered, then you take Pollard, and Pollard presents a whole new factor with the running game as well. So it's difficult to control this offense, and Kellen Moore is taking advantage of that.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about this offense whatsoever. For me, there's too much for any defense to try and cover. And when you throw in Kellen Moore, he knows the strengths and weaknesses, and he knows when to take these calls. I know you can toothpick some of the things out that Kellen's done badly, but no play caller in the NFL is perfect. I mean, if you were, that guy's gold dust.
And I think one of the places where he's obviously excelling is the halftime adjustments that we've constantly complained that we don't have halftime adjustments. The fact that we are a third quarter team this year, that that's where we've gone into halftime either tied or losing by a point, and we've pulled away in the third quarter, and then sure enough, as we've gone to a sort of prevent defense in the fourth quarter to make the opposition, chew up the clock as they're moving down the field, has made it a bit closer. But we've always had enough firepower, give or take the Tampa game, which realistically now, I mean, just a couple of kicks by Zerline, and we would have been, we could have been sitting at 6-0 at the moment. But that's the break.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be quite a. You would expect it to be, but what I'm expecting it to be, but what I would try and say for sure is that the Cowboys are going to go down this possession route, which is a double-edged sword. That one, the Vikings struggle against a run defense, but also what that means is it keeps the likes of, and we'll get to them when we get to the other side of the ball, but it also stops the likes of Thielen and Jefferson, who are playing great at the moment, keeps them off the field. And you keep them off the field, although there are ways, when I've been looking at it, to beat them. By doing that, you're going to have a large possession time on the clock. You'd expect it to be anyway, unless they're just like blind soaring all the way through it and it gets boat raced. But the only other thing I wanted to touch on is, and I get both of your opinion, because you both love offensive line talk.
Why?
Would you say at the moment that this offensive line is easily one of the top 3 in the NFL? How they're playing right now?
Oh yeah,
I'd say so.
I think so. I mean, we've always said that, how many offensive lines can boast, 3 potential Pro Bowlers in that you got Zach Martin, you got Tyron Smith, and then how Lyle Collins, obviously, I don't think because of his suspension, he won't be eligible again this year. But I mean, Lyle Collins has been there or thereabouts when you've been discussing who should be in the Pro Bowl year after year. The last couple of years, he's been there or thereabouts. And then, Williams and Biadish are probably your weak spots, but we've got potential to sort that out. And as I say, Terrence Steele this year has just been a phenom compared to how he was at the beginning of last year as well.
Yeah. And I think the likes of players like Tyron Smith, as well as Zach Martin, who's just been like absolutely perfect as well. Like you say, Terrence Steele, because I even think it was yourself, Lorne, that mentioned about Terrence Steele's off-season program and how that has helped him, as well as some other players who got involved in that offensive line camp practice during the off-season.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, he's been working with Duke Manyweather, and obviously Duke was on Cowboys Break a few weeks back as well, and it was it's fantastic to just watch his Twitter stream and Instagram stream as well. But just having him chat with Derek Eagleton and what have you, that whole episode was just an eye opener. Talking about how Zach Martin even is one of his clients, but he doesn't dare actually do anything with Zach other than work on the fine points of the game for him. It's not changing everything, where he's changed
and the mentality more than anything.
Yeah. And he's changed a lot with Terrence Steele, and you're seeing that coming to fruition this year. So
yeah. All right then. Should we move on to the defense then? Get on to the fun side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it, baby.
Mate, just before we do the defense, guys who's watching it through our Twitter stream right now, I don't know why, but it seems to be that Twitter has disabled comments for the show. So feel free to jump on to our Facebook stream of it or YouTube stream. Get your thoughts in, guys. More comments, the more we can talk.
Yeah. I like it. And we are talking right now defense. So yes, here we go. So
yes, Austin, hands down. Yes.
6-1. Yeah, all the way. We're going for a perfect 10. Well, it can't be a perfect because we lost one, but I'm calling that a win still anyway. But a lot of people talking about this game and talking about Dalvin Cook, saying, "Ooh, Dalvin Cook." We could talk about Adam Thielen and Jefferson as well, which we'll get to. But people are talking about Dalvin Cook. The thing is that I mean, I've gone back to look at it. You can't deny Dalvin Cook.
Absolutely.
And his explosiveness is one of the best in the NFL. The guy gets from 0 to 60 instantaneously. But going through it, he's good, but I mean, I'm going through it. 366 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He's had issues as well with fumbling this year as well.
Yeah,
so.
And he's missed 2 games as well. And best ability is availability. And Dalvin Cook is renowned for being injured. He's missed large chunks of games throughout his career in years. But I was trying to go through it. They're only 13th in rush yards per game. So it's not like a massive part of it.
Well, don't forget, Mike, and Austin's eyes is still my thunder here. is the other running back, Matt? Is it Mattison?
Alexander Mattison, yeah. He's not bad.
He is good. He is
Mm.
good. Like, he is a good, solid backup running back.
Yeah, he is Tony Pollard to Zeke in that sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally
Yeah.
agree.
I actually think this offense of the Vikings is, they're just a couple of tight ends away from actually having a very similar offense to us. You've got Mattison and
absolutely.
Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
You've got Thielen. You've got Jefferson, and KJ Osborne is proving to be a fairly reliable third receiver as well. So all they're missing at the moment is a sort of a named tight end or somebody who's producing, and we're not seeing that from there. You're not getting the same sort of production out of Tyler Conklin that you're getting out of Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin. So
yeah,
it's very similar, and it does pose a few questions with us as to, is Diggs going to travel this week? Are we going to so that
there's the battle?
Yeah, is he on his old sparring partner with Jefferson?
Yeah,
or do you put him on Thielen?
I say you got to get him to travel. And here's the crazy part is Diggs. So we'll get to the turnovers, which I think are important. But this year they haven't been that bad, Minnesota. They don't get many takeaways, but they don't give away a lot either. They're right at the very top in terms of giveaways. Very stingy. But there's something else we'll get to now with Kirk Cousins. But Diggs, against Jefferson.
That's going to be some matchup to watch.
That's the battle, and it's the battle of man coverage, because Diggs as a press man he's like in the top 20 in terms of cornerbacks. Versus man is like right at the top 2. So it's going to be the battle of who beats man. It's going to be a physical battle. So that is interesting. But what is crazy is what they're going to be trying to do is maintain possession. They're going to be doing the same thing that we're doing, because they're going to be going, right, maintain possession, keep the ball, keep our offense off on the field, so we keep theirs off. Because, like I say, I do think this is the game where Diggs' interception run, if you like, that comes to a stop.
Yeah. There's going to have to be a game where he won't get an interception. Teams are going to kind of start to clue on. Yeah,
it's this game.
And Mike Zimmer's he's a great coach. He'll know what to do. And I think they will try and divert away from Diggs and try and target Brown, if all honesty, or try and more establish the running game. And it's kind of like, I know we're kind of talking about Diggs, but if there's one thing I'm kind of a wee bit concerned about is the interiors of the offensive line. They have a really good interior set.
What, of their offensive line?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think it sucks.
No, you think so? I think I think they're actually pretty decent, man.
We'll get to that in a sec, because there is something that's really, really important about pressure with Kirk Cousins, because we've seen it so many times, because we faced him when he was in Washington.
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of turnovers, why I think that, because you can't take it away from Diggs' mind, but in terms of interceptions this year, Kirk Cousins has only thrown 2.
Yep, and 13 touchdown passes as well. But conversely, I mean, this is us playing a primetime game, and we know what Kirk Cousins is like in primetime as well.
Yes, so, there is that.
He's got a 4-13 record as a QB, so
just to
hopefully that bodes well for us.
Just so I'm clear, the game is in Minnesota, correct?
Yes,
it is.
So it's
in US Bank.
So it's a repeat from last year, right?
Okay. Yeah. Only because of how the scheduling works, basically. But here's some interesting factoids. Thought I'd go back to take a look, just so we can have a look at how bad Kirk Cousins is under pressure, right? So under pressure, he has a 45% completion rate. That
Jesus.
ranks 32 quarterbacks, 31st.
Who's last?
I think it was Big Ben. His
Wow,
yard,
really?
yeah. So is yards per attempt, and this is out of 50 quarterbacks, is 4 yards per attempt. That's 40th. And then his time to throw is 2.8 seconds. That's 50th. So that's dead last. Under pressure, he fails, and it fails for 2 reasons. One is that he isn't good under pressure. We've seen it so many times that if you get to him and you do it, because what we're talking about here is that he's not going to throw interceptions, but he's going to throw the ball away. Because if you look at the adjusted completion, it's not that bad. Because what the adjusted completion, it takes away the throwaways. Because what Kirk Cousins will do is, if he's under pressure and he doesn't see it, he's just going to throw the ball away.
Yeah.
But what it also shows is his time to throw is his O-line not protected him well enough.
Yeah, I'm just trying to throw like a comparison here, because we know Kirk Cousins likes to be more like that type of pocket type of passer. Like, he's not like the most athletic of quarterbacks, like in comparison to like Kyler Murray or Dak, for example, who can actually move in and out the pocket and keep the play alive. Kirk cannot really do that at all. Like, I don't know about you guys, but he is more like, I would say, not as stiff as Big Ben, but I would say like it just has the not the ability to kind of like keep the play alive if he's out the pocket. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think he's become more of a pocket passer as well since the move to Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably was dangerous a little bit when he was playing with the Washington football team. Pizza, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was dangerous. He was a little bit dangerous when he was with Washington, but whether it's a scheme or not, but since he's moved to Minnesota, he has been more of a drop back and stay in the pocket passer. So when the pocket fails, he does tend to hear the footsteps and throw the ball away, which in some respects can play into your hands as well. If you get pressure on him 3 straight times, that's it. You're 3 and out. So
and that's the way to beat him, because you just don't want to give him time to go out and look for Thielen or look for Jefferson. You just want to get in there, because, as I say, the issue is because he hasn't got his O-line isn't giving him the time to throw, because he's not one of these players that will take chances, as you can see by the lack of interceptions this year. He's just thrown the ball away. So for me, the plan is get into his face, get shoving, because he's going to panic, he's going to throw the ball away. That's the end of the play. Or the other way it's going to go is that he's going to panic, he's going to try and throw the ball away or try and push the ball, because if you think about it, what's going to happen is the Cowboys are scoring, right? Let's assume this offense is clicking, it's doing what it needs to be doing, its job, basically. So they're scoring. So if they're scoring, that means Minnesota are playing catch-up, which means Kirk Cousins has no choice but to throw. And then that means he's also in those times where he's thinking, I need to throw the ball away, he's going to start taking chances and he's going to start throwing the ball to try and keep up and maintain a score. And that's when I think you can see a chance for a turnover. That's the way I can see it happening. I don't know what you think on that narrative.
Yeah, I'd completely agree on that.
Yeah, that would be the way it would play for me. But the issue is, like I say, I mean, he's got 2 amazing. We talk about our receiving core; they have just as good. They're almost very, in ways of the offense, a little mirror image in terms of playmaking, boxes ticked, if you like. They're quite a mirror image of each other. But for me, the last thing I want to be doing is giving Kirk a chance to give the ball to those two wide, because I think Thielen's already on like 5 touchdowns this year, and Jefferson's on 3. So there's 8 touchdowns between the two of them in like 7 games.
Yeah, and Thielen is very much he makes the dirty catches. Jefferson is probably like your CD Lamb splash player. All the sort of big TDs that he's had this season. I certainly don't think the Vikings regret the fact that they couldn't get CD Lamb and vice versa. I don't think we would have wanted, or we feel we've missed out on Justin Jefferson. I think you could put them in either offense and they'd probably be able to do a substantial job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What we also need to think as well as Kirk Cousins' record in primetime games. I mean, his record against the Cowboys as well. He's only got 2 wins, and those were one with Washington and one with Minnesota. 3 years ago? I think
it was in his first season with Minnesota.
Yeah. So he's got a 2-7 record against us. So.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of that, we're talking about pressure. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but for me, I think the 2 key matchups, because I got my key matchups on offense, which was Zeke. What else did I put? Zeke, hammer down the middle. Yeah. So on defense, key matchup for me is with the D line is Randy Gregory and Micah Parsons through the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the
what
guy
I want to talk.
I totally agree. Randy Redray. I'd say Randy Redray is going to be the key to our success in this game.
Yep. I think on running plays, I mean, obviously losing Brent Urban is probably a big key. That's your big one technique. I think we'll probably see a bit more of Bahana this next few weeks as well.
Yeah.
And he really does need to step up, especially if you do have Dalvin Cook and Mattison, the 2-headed monster for them. We want to be getting into third downs where we're putting the ball into Kirk Cousins' hands.
Yeah, we're
going to have to establish that rush defense.
Yeah, because we need like Sabuana to take up 2 offensive linemen, so it kind of frees up the gap for the linebackers to can and stop the run essentially. If we can have 2 offensive linemen focus on Buana, that reduces the gaps essentially. So
and I think that because what I think the way that they're going to try and do it is that, like I say, it's got to get to Kirk Cousins is the way to do it. I'm not too worried about the run, and the Cowboys' run defense has already shown that it's last year's is a flip. That the run defense is good, the pass defense is an issue, but for me, those passing yards are coming as a result of the Cowboys being so far ahead.
Yeah. Just to kind of add in a follow-up question from our very own Graham Wilson. On Tuesday's show, he asked about Parsons staying on the edge. Thoughts, yay or nay?
I do like it. I do like the idea.
Honestly, I keep saying it. I think we're going to use Parsons as that hybrid, like Von Miller-esque. You can push him down to the edge and still have him back in linebacker. I really do think that's what we're kind of doing with him right now. So for me, either way, if he's on the edge, he's on the edge. If he's not, he's not. It doesn't make a difference. But either way, it's still going to make an impact, regardless where you put him.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing when he's on the edge, I think his level of snaps have actually fallen off. I mean, I think he's averaging when he's playing strictly an edge player, he's normally only had sort of 31 snaps a game. Where when he's playing linebacker, it's sort of closer to 64. I think you move him around, make the defense have to account for where he's lining up. And it makes them wonder where the pressure's coming from. If you've got him head up in an A gap, and you've then got Van Der Esch next to him. You wonder which one of them's coming through the A gap there. Move him out to edge. The more you can do to just create that moment's hesitation with the offensive line on passing downs, or even on run plays as well. Decide him, because you got to make sure that he's not flowing to the ball and tracking it down either from the backside or on play side as well. So the more the offense has to account for where he's lined up, and then you've got to think that they've got Gregory on one side, they've got a multitude of other issues to worry about against that offensive line, that defensive line of ours.
I mean, don't forget we've also got like some Golston, who's actually starting to really come out of his shell now. Since he's actually been in the squad, getting more reps, we're actually seeing his development on the field as we go along. And even Basham as well, like he had some good starts as well. So it's from our front seven in terms of stopping the run. I'm very confident we can prevent Dalvin Cook not to cause any disruption. I think he will basically bring the power first, but I think it will completely brick wall that at some point during the game, and it will revert Cousins to actually kind of change tactics.
Yeah. All right then. Well, let's do the next bit then, and then we can move on to the fantasy section. But give me your thoughts, guys. What's going to be the final score? Everyone at home, give us your scores. Well, we've had some already, but give us your scores at home, and then we can take it from there. So I'll start with you, Mr. Lawn, Senior. What do you think the final score is going to be?
I'm going to say Dallas 33, Vikings 21. So I think we're going to pull away in the second half, as we have done, and again, I think there will be scope for them to score another touchdown in the second half, but I think we'll pull away in the second half. We'll keep it close in the first half and pull away again, and it'll be the 12 points that I've said be the difference in the score.
Okay, what about you then, Paul?
Well,
hit me with yours.
Well, before I hit mine, I'll bring up the comments so far. So, Austin's went for 31-17 blowout before halftime. Ooh, I like that.
Okay.
Our Graham Wilson goes for 28-17 Cowboys. And Andy has went for 35-27. And the very first comment, and this was before we even went live, because Valente is so determined, and he went for 27-20. So they're all in roughly the same ballpark region, nearly.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to go outfield.
Come on, then.
I'm going to say this is going to be a complete domination game.
Yeah.
And with that, I am going to go with 45-21. Cowboys.
Oh, okay. We're not that far away. I've gone 38-20. So that's where I'm going with that one. But like you say, everyone's seeing the same thing. Oh, we got a bit. Our friend from Italy, Joe, he's given us a close score there. So yeah, but like you say, everyone's around about the same sort of score, whether it's close or a blowout.
It's almost in the close proximity of what we're doing here. Like even DJ Dog.
Yeah.
30-24. How we're doing, DJ Dog? Good to see you coming back at Austin.
Yeah. All right then. So we smash the last segment out then, and then
fantasy.
Yeah, let's do it. Alrighty. Right. Okay. So here it is.
Wait. I need to quote this. Like, see that confidence is high. The only reason that, like you remember the film American Pie, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain part in the movie like confidence is high.
High. The Shermanator.
Yeah.
Well, I think
we all feel like Shermanator right now. Our confidence is that high.
I think as it's been discussed on Hanging with the Boys this week. I mean, looking ahead at the schedule, there's nobody. I mean, even Kansas City Chiefs are in a bit of.
They're looking.
I am
Yeah.
looking
in a
forward
bit
to
of
that
dive
game
at the
because
moment.
I am going to be there. I am looking forward to it.
That means the flag is going to be there as well. So
Yes.
we're going to win that game. So, but yeah, I mean, there isn't anybody that really scares me in this remaining schedule.
It was Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas, but I'm with you. That's going back and watching since I'm with Kansas. I'm like, I don't know now.
Yep. So I mean, this could be a fantastic season as long as we take it week by week and don't go, all right, okay, let's book our tickets to SoFi Stadium already.
Okay,
I think if you take it,
some love for you, mate.
Old DJ Dog,
and
UK Cowboys royalty.
That's something that Brad Sham said to us that time that he was on a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying enjoy the ride, and I think that's what we need to do. And yes, we're all predicting a win, but I mean I think that's the reason why is we should be able to match up with all of these matchups. There's nobody that's saying, "Oh God, we're going in and we're going to get our asses handed to us."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, Brad Sham is right. Like, we should not actually be getting way ahead of ourselves. We should be just focus on this game and this game only till the next game. But when you're looking at it from just a general perspective, you can't help but think, well, Kansas is not really playing their best football right now, right? And they are touted to be the favourites to be in the Super Bowl this year. So you can't help but think
just
that.
Like that, I've been brought down to earth. NFL.com are saying Dak Prescott is unsure he'll play Sunday.
Yeah, I just seen that. I'm kind of perusing, and it's more that all it is that quickly skipping through what this article's saying is that basically he's saying that the decision for him to play is not in his hands; it's up to the coaches. So obviously the coaches will speak to the medical staff, they'll speak to Dak, and from that they'll make a decision. So that's really what they're saying.
It could be a tactic just to make Minnesota guessing,
which is fine.
Yeah, like where was it? Like coaches do it all the time. Say, we're not too sure if this player's going to make it, but by time game time happens, they're playing.
Yeah, well, look at
and it causes disruption within the coaches of the other team, thinking, right, well, we practice this. Like they're trying to figure everything out. Like they had this one game plan, they had another game plan, then they're trying to redo it during while the game's going. So who knows? It could be.
Well, have you ever seen a Patriots practice report before a game? It's long.
Yeah.
Like it is full. It is literally limited. Did not participate. It's like really messed up. And like at the end of it is literally the entire team is questionable or doubtful. So
yeah, I mean back in the days when Brady was playing for the Patriots, God. I mean I think he was on the injury report every single week.
Yeah, questionable every week, and he's just like, oh, Bill, just give it a rest, mate. We know what you're doing. But let's get into the fantasy section then, guys. We'll wrap this up. So it's very, very simple. I give you the fantasy score, and all you've got to do is you got to say it's a higher or lower. Boy oh boy for more or oh boy for less. So it's really simple. We'll start with Dak, assuming he's playing. 19 fantasy points. Is that an oh boy? A boy oh boy or an oh boy?
If Dak is playing, it's boy oh boy.
Boy oh boy.
Paul and Lorne is a boy oh boy. Okay, play along at home as well. Just just say Dak and oh boy or boy oh boy. So Zeke, 15 fantasy points. Is that a boy oh boy or an oh boy?
I'll say boy oh boy on that one.
So what was the point, sorry?
15.
I'm going to say that that's spot on.
He's going to push. All right. Let's go the other way. Kirk Cousins, 21 fantasy points.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assumption.
Okay.
I'll go oh boy on that one. I think
Oh,
if he's throwing the ball away a lot, I think.
I think he will score more than 21, but he will throw in mistakes.
I'm counting on it for the win. You need him to force a mistake through an extension of pressure. But let's keep this going then on the other side. Dalvin Cook, 17 fantasy points.
Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah, with our front seven right now, I think he'll be unless he gets 30 yards and 2 red zone touchdowns, then he'll get 17 points. That's the only way I could see it happening.
Okay.
Because I don't see Dalvin Cook getting 100 yards on us this time.
Yeah, all right. I can go with that. Let's go with the next one then. CeeDee Lamb. 15 fantasy points.
See, sorry, just before you move on there, Austin makes a great point. Garbage yards for the first time for Cousins.
Yeah.
That will boost up his fantasy points as well.
Exactamundo.
Fantastic point, Austin. Fantastic. Cheers for that comment.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, 15 fantasy points. Will he have another spectacular catch?
Yes. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy. Justin Jefferson.
Oh. What was it, Mike? Because you cut out there.
18 fantasy points. 1-8. Yeah. And I can guess why they've done that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why.
I'll go oh boy on that one.
Oh boy.
This is the tough. I think this is the toughest one. I think that's actually a fair assumption. Again.
Like, here's the thing, right? Where I know where they're going with this is they're saying he's going to be up against Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is an interception machine, but he gives up a lot of yards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go oh boy, but only just I'd say he might be in the 15, 16 point mark, but not 18.
Okay. Amari Cooper, and I can guess why they're doing this too. 13 fantasy points.
Yeah, I can understand why. Because
mixing our offense up.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna say oh boy. Reason because I think if we're in the red zone, I think our tight ends are gonna play a bigger part.
The 12-man formation is going to be huge.
Exactly. So I think in terms of red zone and stuff like that, I think Cooper is just basically just going to be there just to help block or whatever. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an old boy for Coop.
I will go a push on that one.
Push, all right. Adam Thielen, 14 fantasy points. Yes.
I'll say oh boy on that one, but only just. I don't think he's a push, but I think he'll be 12 or 13. So
Paulius?
Oh boy.
All right, there we go. It's all set for this weekend for the fantasy.
So you know what the tight ends at all?
No, I didn't go to them this week. I think with the tight ends, they're just touchdown dependent. Although one thing I will say is I'm trying to remember the exact. I think it was on 20 receptions, minimum 20 receptions. Dalton Schultz, in terms of yards, is second in terms of tight end. But that was before the bye. So Schultz is absolutely screaming at the moment. And bear in mind, as we just said now when we were talking about Mari Cooper, this is on an offense that has Coop, Lamb, Zeke, Tony Pollard, Wilson, Gallup, and Schultz is still up there, with some of the best tight ends in the league. He's got more yards than Kittle.
I know, and Kittle just got that big massive contract as well.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about massive contracts because they're all coming up for us this year. But yeah, that is this week's show. Just a very quick shout out to our sponsor, which is Cowboys Experience. If you are going to go to a game this year, now that the gates are open for everyone in the UK as well, make sure you use Cowboys Experience. They've got game day tickets, packages, stadium tours, and you even get to meet some players as well, current and in the past. And of course, if you are going to book it, make sure that we sent you and use the code UK Cowboys, because you know what happens, guys, if you do?
You get free stuff.
Free stuff. We say it so often that it even comes through on the comments now. So, but also, guys, make sure you go and follow some of our very close comrades out there. Some of you know, some of you won't, but make sure to go give them a follow. If it's coming from us, it must be quality, because they're all going to be better than us, more than anything. But that is it for this week's show. We will be around on the Facebook group on Sunday, depending if you're staying up. My coffee pot will be on, and I'll be on the Red Bull. And then, yes, we'll be there. So join in the conversation if you're over there. If not, have a nice, safe, and productive weekend, and we'll see you then, guys. But I'm going to let Paul and Lorne sign us off. See you again, guys.
See you later, guys. See you in the post-game show.
Yep. See you later when we're 6-1. Go Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.